Hi everyone, it's Agnes, and this is the third YouTube in the series, My Personal Relationships, the romantic ones. So, relationship number 3 was with the man that I married, my husband, and he had the same name as the previous ex that I shared in part number 2. Now, this relationship, he was Australian, I was in Australia at the time, and this relationship started off as a connection because we were both creative people. He was a musician, I was a dancer, and we met in 12-step fellowships. For those of you that know about 12-step fellowships, it is for those that have been recovering from something. Now, I spent many years going to Al-Anon being for the families and friends of those that have relationships with people with addictions. So I was in there and we connected through doing some creative performances together, and then through beginning a friendship and a creative connection, we started to date, and then we went on to get engaged some years later and then get married. Now, that relationship was at that point a good relationship because it had many good components to it. I never actually witnessed this person under the influence of any addiction, alcohol or drugs or anything, because they had already had 10 years of sobriety from any substance addiction at that time. So, going on in this relationship, the wonderful things were the creativity and the really being able to discuss and talk and share about those things, and having a love of music. Later on, the music tastes were not the same, and that did become an issue. However, the things learned on my end were about being able to overcome and understand my I'm second best and I'm not good enough and I'm not a priority and I'm not important and I don't matter. Now, I did a lot of giving in that relationship. I see when I look back, that person, although appeared to be a giver in the beginning, turned into someone who was a taker and who did, use our money, who used me as someone to support their dream and really wasn't that supportive or giving about my dreams and my goals. So when you have the belief, as I did, I'm not good enough and I'm second best and I'm not a priority, then that gets reflected back. And it really did get reflected back to me in this relationship. So it was a very big time of learning about those particular beliefs and those particular thoughts that I had about myself. The relationship lasted 10 years, 7 years married and 10 years together. So it was a good chunk of time. And I think that the learning that came out of that, I got much, much stronger within myself in learning about being second best to something. Now, this person too, as the relationship went on, it was revealed that he was not fully heterosexual, he was bisexual. And, I have no issues with whatever sexual orientation people have. However, the issue was knowing that I was fully heterosexual. It probably would have been a good idea not to get married, so that the desire to have sexual relations with men and with other women, that is the part that destroyed the relationship. So as we know about everyone is us pushed out, I learnt that at a much deeper level, that because I had the beliefs that I had, that I did attract some very unpleasant, painful situations that caused me a lot of suffering. However, the story goes on, and you know, I did recover, and I can look back at that with a bit of humor and a bit of a laugh now, because it was such a drama at the time, as you can imagine. And yeah, that ended up in this husband of mine having an affair with a groupie that you know, went to see his music, and also him going off and having sexual relations with men, and obviously not discussing that with me. I found out later, and that is what destroyed the marriage. So, but also I think we had very different views about the level of giving and the level of meeting halfway. And, you know, in the end, that wouldn't have worked for me either, irregardless of, you know, the sexual infidelity and the disturbances with extramarital affairs. So, yeah, it's good to look back for a reflection and for learning. It did create a very good stepping stone for the next relationship, and the best relationship I've ever had since that time. But I will share that in another part. I just thought I'd give you part 3 in the journey. And also, it is, you know, it makes you who you are. And all these parts of the relationships that I've shared with you so far have made me who I am, and have made my self-love much stronger, and have definitely made my my humor and my ability to forgive and let go improve, because there was a lot of things to forgive and a lot of things to let go of. So obviously I wasn't good at it, and I needed a lot of practice, and I've definitely been able to have a lot of practice in the time since that time, and since, well, relationship number 1, number 2, and this one that I'm sharing with you today, number 3. So I will see you in part 4. I will put part 1 and part 2 down below for those of you that missed it. And lots of love, everyone. I'm just enjoying a beautiful, warm summer's day. Well, it's autumn here in London, but just enjoying having a afternoon meditation on the couch and spending a bit of time with you to give you a little bit more insight into the journey. Now, one more thing. My law of attraction friend said to me at the time, when I was absolutely wiped out and devastated, she said, remember that when he goes, he did not take the love with him like a pair of suitcases. If you felt love before, the love is still in you. And that